Okay, guys, this is three-way trading. I'm going to talk today a little bit about chart mapping and how to find the best levels to trade from. We're going to talk about probably the most important levels to mark up your chart with, and then how to trade them once price reaches them or interacts with those levels. Okay, so let's keep it simple. Let's keep it short and sweet. About a half hour before the New York Open, at about 9 o'clock a.m. and going to about 10 a.m., put these on your chart. Okay. In addition to the daily 13 EMA, the 4-hour 13 EMA, the 1-hour 13 EMA, and the 15-minute 8-9 EMA, and the 15-minute 13 EMA, make sure that those are always going to be on your chart. Okay. Every day. It's not like you have to add them every day. They're just always going to be there. So those are going to be important levels because price is going to definitely interact with those levels. However, we need some additional levels as well. And this is where the mapping comes in. Okay. So we're going to put on 4-hour candle swing highs and lows. We're going to put 1-hour candle body pivots. We're going to put the big rounds and the half big rounds. And we're going to put special case levels like Trump tweets that cause a huge spike, etc. Okay. So let's talk about these different levels. All right. Let's start off with the daily chart. All right. Here's your daily chart, and this turquoise line here is your 13. So as you can see, we've been in a downtrend, and we're definitely respecting the daily 13. Okay, let's take a look at 4-hour chart. Here's a 4-hour chart, and this kind of light green is the 13, is the 4-hour 13. So on this rundown, we respected it pretty well. Then we had this Trump tweet up here, and came back down, and kind of crossing back and forth over and under it. And then we came back down again on Friday and a little bit on Monday, stayed under it. And then overnight, we kind of this is it right here. So we kind of came over it. And now I've been riding above it over the last 24 hours or so. So that's the 4-hour 13. The 1-hour is in black. 1-hour is in black, and it's mostly being respected over the last 24 hours or so. We did have a pullback under it here. But overall, we've been pretty much above it for the last 24 hours. Let's look at the 15-minute chart here. The 15-minute chart, this is your 8-9 in purple, and this is your 13 in blue. So when price is trending down, it does tend to respect these levels here. It does tend to respect. And when price came down here and started putting in a W pattern, which you can kind of see, let me put on lines here. You can kind of see that W pattern forming there. All right. As you can see, that W pattern formed, and price basically crossed over the black line 2 times, and now it's well respecting it. So that is something that it's like a guidepost. If you're above, generally you're bullish. If you're below, generally you are bearish. That's the 15-minute. Sorry, that's the 1-hour. That's the 1-hour and in black, and the 15-minute. Put it on a 15-minute chart here. 15-minute is in the 8-9 is in purple, and the 13 is in blue. Okay, so that's what we have over the last few days here. We have a W pattern forming, and price has been jumping up over that 1-hour, you could say, and holding it over the last, mostly over the last 24 hours here. Okay, now, as far as the other ones go, we're going to say that we need the 4-hour candle swing highs and lows. So let's look at those. 4-hour chart right there. Okay. And when you look at the candles on a 4-hour chart, you will see things like this, where you have a wick that comes down kind of like out of nowhere and sticks out like a sore thumb. So to the right and to the left, if you have higher lows, that becomes a 4-hour swing point, and we can mark that. And I did mark that right there, as you can see that. I have one here also. We have a higher low to the right, a higher low to the left. So that's like a pitchfork. Some people call that a pitchfork, where you have one lower one in the middle or one higher one in the middle, and then either side is higher or lower, as the case may be. Okay, these are coming down, so there's no swings here. These are all coming down, And then here, you'll see there's a swing point because you had a higher low to the left and a higher low to the right. Makes that a swing. You have to have completed candles to the right in order to actually define it. Same here. We had a lower candle here with a higher low on the left and a higher low on the right. Okay. This was also the Trump tweet launch point. A week ago on the 23rd at around 7 a.m., Trump put out a tweet that the war was ending, and that caused the market to skyrocket about 1,300 points. Right there, that big green candle. Okay, so anyway, make sure all those 4-hour levels are on here. This morning we had one right here, 45,728. Okay, that was put in during the 6 o'clock candle. When this one completed, that technically you didn't know that this was going to be a swing low until this completed, but when we started doing this at about 10 o'clock, we could see what was going on. We could see that was a swing low. So that's when that one got marked. When the 6 o'clock a.m. candle completed, we were, somewhere way up here. And so I felt comfortable putting a swing low on it. What happened was that we sold down just past 10 right to that level and bounced hard off of it. So you got to be, I have a timer on at just like 3 minutes to 10 New York. I say, hey, check the 4-minute candle and check to make sure that we don't need to mark it for anything. But anyway, we marked this one also here. That one got marked because that was the 1800 candle. So at 2200, when this one completed at 02 a.m., we could mark this one. Okay. So you have to make sure basically that the following candle completes, then you can mark the candle if it's a swing low candle. All right, so that is the 4-hour swings. Let's get into the next item on the list. That's the 1-hour candle body pivots, okay? Let's check the 1-hour chart here. Now, what I mean by candle body pivots is that you want to see where these things turn. Now, this turned here. But blue is actually red. I'm sorry to confuse you. But this means it's a trap candle, meaning it was an engulfing candle. But that means blue means down, yellow means up. Okay, so blue to green here, this pivot here, that's considered a pivot. We did it here, red to green here, blue to green, same thing. That was a pivot. And then we also had, let's see, on the 1-hour chart here, let's look at this. And we're looking at this at about 9 o'clock in the morning. So it's looking like this right here. Okay, this is the 8 o'clock. This is the 8 o'clock candle is right there. So it's about 9 in the morning. That's what you see at 9 a.m. Okay, so at 9 a.m. you're looking at, you're going, where are the pivots? Okay, and you can clearly see there's a pivot down here. Okay, there's a pivot here where we rolled over. Roll from down like that, up like that, down like that. Okay, now where do these kind of match up with these over on this side? So over here we had one that kind of bounced up here, and then bounced up here, and then bounced up here, all at about the same level, right, where that bounce up happened, kind of equal with this bounce down. All right, so the bounce down and the bounce up, you match them together basically and create a zone. Okay, so that zone gets created because we had these candles are bouncing up where these candles are bouncing down, pivoting down on the 1-hour chart. Okay, so that creates a zone right there. Okay, that creates a zone. So what we're going to look for when the New York session opens is we're going to look for these pivot zones on the 1-hour candle body pivots, and we're going to look for these 4-hour swings points and also the daily swings. I didn't get into that. I'm not sure if I got into that here, but yeah, daily swings should be on that as well, because those are very good areas to trade from. Okay, so then you got your big rounds, your half big rounds, your special cases. Big rounds is just nothing but say 4,500 is a half big round area. That's marked right here in blue. 46,000 would be marked here. You can see that one in blue. Okay, those are big rounds like multiples of 1,000. I'm trading the YM, so multiples of 1,000 or multiples of 500. Okay. All right. So that's basically it. So now it's 9:30, and the market is open, and you're just watching to see what it's going to do. Is it going to? Let me take this off as a fib level, fib box. You're just watching to see what it's going to do. You know. So basically, what happens is you're using the candle the levels that you put in there. So, for example, here's your hourly swing point, right? And here's your 4 hour, and here's your daily. Okay, so we're going to see how price responds and reacts to those levels. And we're going to also watch our MACD, which is also similar to stochastics, and see where we get a MACD low and a hook, or MACD high and a hook. All right. So anyway, price kind of opens. It goes and pops up against this daily swing low up here, but 9:31 is really too early to do anything. 9:36 to 9:38, 9:40 is usually a good time to enter a trade if you see something. So anyway, price does come down here. Here's 9:36, and you start to see this hook right here happening at 9:37, 9:38. You get a couple of long wicked candles here off the level. This is the hourly pivot point level that we identified earlier. And you get a hook on MACD and a cross, and your histograms go from negative to positive. So this is a good entry point right about here, where you get this hook, this MACD hook, and these wicks, these long buyers wicks. Okay, so that was an entry. I got in at 30 on this one, right here, 830, and I just took it up to about 890, 60 points. But because I was doing 2 minis, that was about, I don't know, $600, and it was good for the rest of the day. That's all I really needed. But you could have traded again here. I took this on sim. This one came down to a 4 hour swing and started to hook. And so we got it in the room. I got this one on sim. I took this one up pretty far up here for about, I think about 50, 60 points. Okay. And then here's another one that occurred a little later. Price rolled over here. And this happened, by the way, at 10:30 reversal period. We had a big push down, and just watch the MACD. The MACD will tell you what's going on. The MACD it will get to an oversold level, and then it'll start to hook. Okay, now you can see the MACD hooks right here. Nice little hook right there. You can see that coincides with the hook right off that 4 hour swing low. Right? They match. Right? That's what you're looking for. You're looking for a match. You're looking for where price comes down to one of your key support levels or resistance levels, and then you have a match with your MACD hook. Okay, and that can give you the confidence. If you want to, you can always use, some Heikin-Aishi candles if you want additional confirmation. In this case, with Heikin-Aishi, they will change color. You get a color change right there. All right, you can do that. Oh, Heikin-Aishi change color. Right where we got a MACD hook and we got a histogram flip from negative to positive there. So, all that happens, right about the same spot right there. See that? There's the cross, there's the flip, there's the color change, and then you can enter right there and take it as high as you want to. Now that right there was an amazing trade because right off that 4 hour swing low point, we had that MACD hook, we had the histogram flip, we have the color change on the Heikin-Aishis. And, it starts going up, and it went from about 730 all the way up to about 048, which is about 300 points, right? More than 300 points. So, a couple of minis, that's a lot of money. I'm not even sure how much that is, but it's, I can check. 100 points on 2 minis is $1,000. So that's a $3,000 trade right there on just 2 minis. So as you can see, there is a method to the madness. There truly is. And I also put things like Trump tweets that cause a huge spike. For example, a week ago, there was a Trump tweet. Here it is right here. It's right here. Okay. This was Monday morning early. Let's see. Easier to see on like a 1 hour chart. Start there. There it is right there. All right. I'm going to take it off Heikin-Aishi because it's a little harder to see there. But it was on Monday. Monday the 23rd. Yeah, there it is right there. So I marked that level where it started, right there. Actually, I started it right there. So anyway, these levels, they're not that complicated, right? They are simply the 13 EMAs on the larger frames, like the daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, and then the 15-minute has the 8 and 9 and the 13 frame. And then you've got your daily swing highs and lows, and I showed you how to identify those: 4 hour, 1 hour, big rounds, half big rounds, and your special cases like your Trump tweets, things like that. Okay, then you're just watching how price reacts to them at key times day, and you look for your signals on your indicators showing you that oversold and hooking, with histograms flipping, and price, putting in the flip. Put it usually with something like this particular trade right here yesterday. You could just see that you had a color change. It was very easy to see. That's not even on a Heiken Aishi. It would be even more obvious on a Heiken Aishi. And where did this happen? This was last Sunday night after the open. This happened at a cluster, okay, of levels. You had an hourly. I didn't show you this, but you can also put hourlies on there. A couple of hourlies, a daily, and a 4 hour, all clustered just above 45,000, which is a big round, right? Big round multiple of 1,000. All right, so you had all that happening right there. You had your oversold MACD hooking, hooks up, and you had a big push up, 45,087, all the way up to 45,890, which is, what is that? Like 900 points or something like that. So it's not super, that's on an hourly chart. It's not super difficult to identify these things. You can identify them on multiple time frames, hour, 15-minute, 4 hour, whatever, daily. But, the levels themselves they do cluster. They do cluster together, like you'll see here and here. These pivots are also very powerful. We didn't talk about those too much, but I did take a trade off. This pivot zone, again, I showed you how to identify the pivot zone. You see where price, the candle bodies, 1 hour candle bodies switch direction, okay? And you create zones out of that. And then this morning, I did grab a trade. Actually, maybe I did show you this, I don't remember. But that was my first trade of the day. And that happened right here. Price came down, 936, 935. Yeah, I did show you this. And we got a hook on the MACD hook, and it came right to the marked level that we had marked just like 30 minutes earlier, right? And that was the pivot, the 1 hour candle body pivot area. Okay, held that. See how the bodies all held that? The 1 minute bodies all held that. Just it wicked into it, but the bodies held. Then you had a hook on MACD, and then boom, up you go. I only needed about 60 points, because I'm trading a couple minis, and on a couple of minis, you don't need too much. You really don't. It's not like you need a whole ton of stuff a whole ton of points to do well. You can do two YM contracts, 100 points will get you $1,000. All right. You don't need a lot of points. Now you can get some of these trades, like I was showing you earlier, you can get like $900 or 900 points. So that would be $9,000. Okay, so not that difficult if you're good at holding, which I'm not, but if you are good at that, use these levels to find the where to get long, and it should work out really well for you. All right, that's it for now.